I started posting on TikTok mostly just as a training log. And then I had this funny interaction because I went to a new gym, which is the current gym that I go to. And the owners were sitting back and they were talking about some stuff. And I pulled 405 for three. And I was like 160-ish at the time. And the owner, he just goes, "Dude, what the hell? This guy's a freaking beanpole." And then that video absolutely blew up, and I think it's almost at 20 million views right now. And that kind of like solidified, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. This is fun. It's fun to wow people.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Fellowship of the Gains podcast. My name is Andrew Dettelbach. And our here today is Jesse Grunn, and we have brought on Zak. He is known as ZakMovesMass on Instagram. We'll go over your socials at the end. The dude lifts way more much weight than we do, and is surprising to look at when he's doing it. So we're going to dive into his story and how he looks the way he does and lifts the amount of weight he does.
Zak, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got off work, so everything's great.
What do you do besides, lift more weight than I'll ever consider lifting?
I deliver medical equipment, hospice care stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, awesome.
Do you ever work with hospice, moving patients and stuff?
No, I just deliver the equipment for them. So oxygen tanks, hospice beds, stuff like that.
They could use you in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, lifting odd objects like people, I can tell you because I'm a former first responder, it's very difficult to do. They may look small, but it is just so hard to move a person. It's just a completely different animal. Zak, we'll kind of dive into it a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you started having a passion for powerlifting, and how we got to where we are today, where the dude looks at 600 pounds, he's like, I'm gonna do that 4 times.
So I started 2018, senior in high school. I'd never done any sports whatsoever at all, ever. I weighed like 150 pounds maybe, and I wanted to get out of PE, and I saw that there was a weightlifting class. I was like, okay, I'd rather do that than play soccer or whatever. Sure, why not? And then I went into it, and I don't know, I just kind of became fixated on it. We did like a max out at the end of the trimester, which was sets of 10 for whatever reason, like a top set of 10. And I did 275 for 10, and I thought I was the strongest guy ever. I was like, dude, I'm a real tough guy. Hell yeah, I'll do it again. And so then I took another trimester and got a little stronger. And then after I graduated, I just went to the local rec center, got a membership, and from there, that's pretty much when I became a little obsessed for like a year or two.
Yeah.
When you say obsessed, is that like you were lifting too much? You're lifting every day, multiple times a day?
Yeah, I was going crazy with it. I was going every single day. I was training like an idiot for the most part, but I was having a lot of fun. It was great.
Yeah. When did you get a coach?
Like 2.5 years ago.
Okay, nice. So 7-year journey in 2.5 years. What's it like being coached as opposed to doing it all on your own?
Way better for me. I have absolutely horrendous ADHD, and it's really hard to keep myself accountable for like programming and stuff. I don't know. Without a coach, I'm really aimless, and I'll just forget to do things, or I'll just goof around too much. But with a coach, it's like, hey, no, you have to follow the program at least 80%, dude. You gotta follow it. And with that happening, it has increased my progress by quite a bit.
Yep. periodization kind of matters when it comes to getting stronger. It's very interesting where it's like, hey, here's the proper amount of volume for you to lift. Here's your percentages. Here's what you're supposed to do. And you're like, this is how it's supposed to be done. I had no idea.
Exactly.
Andrew, you were going to say something?
Okay. I'm dumbfounded by your abilities. I'm 6'5". I'm 235 pounds. I've been training for 20 years. Since I was 15, I'm about to turn 35. And I've done CrossFit. Jesse's my coach. I've had a variety of other coaches in the past. I've put on a ton of mass. I'm like super shredded. People tell me that that's what they want to look like. And I want to lift your kind of weight. And I've never been able to do that. And I think it's mind-blowing to me, the genetics that someone can have that just allows them to lift heavy stuff. Have you ever had any pain or discomfort or injuries as a result of just lifting heavy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had two that I'd consider major. First one, this was like within the first year or two of lifting, and I wanted to try and max out bench, and I thought I could bench 180. Brought it to my chest pretty easy. On the push, I ruptured my supinator tendon, and it just came off the bone, and I could no longer rotate my hand.
Jeez.
That sucked. That was like a good 3-4 month recovery for that one. And then fast forward to like 2021, this was shortly after the pandemic, and my deadlift max at the time was 455, and it had been like several months since I had hit that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm a real tough guy. I'll do it again. I can do it. Who cares? I don't need to train up to it. Pulled and herniated a disc, and that sucked. That was like 7 months of recovery.
I want to say that those are very quick recovery times. You've got something going for you there.
Yeah, I would say. Are you sure you don't have a healing factor like Wolverine? Like, do you secretly have a healing factor we don't know about?
I was talking to my girlfriend the other day because, like, even just like skin wounds and stuff, they heal just really fast, but they scar super easy too. So,
yeah,
I don't know what that is.
I really do feel like we just need to take Zach and submit him to science and dissect him and figure out what makes him tick.
I've gotten that comment at least 4 other times, so I'm wondering if it might be worth it.
Well, I mean, obviously, like, as somebody who's a strength and conditioning coach by trade, and I think you follow me on social media, so you know kind of some of the work that I do. You know, I think Andrew was like, his best was 455. I think my best deadlift was 495 at like the time that I was like deadlifting the heaviest, and that's still a pretty heavy deadlift. But to look at the way, what I'm most impressed by when you lift is, one, I think the technique from, you know, your light at high velocity to your heavy looks exactly the same, which is super impressive, by the way. Like, there's no deviations in technique that I see. And what we see on social media is obviously just a snippet of how your training really is.
I want to see your bad days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, it's just a snippet. It's just a snippet at the end of the day. When did you find, you know, obviously when you're lifting heavy weight, technique becomes key because then, you know, it keeps you as linear as possible. So it doesn't allow you to, you know, if we're deviating from center mass too much with bad technique, that can cause the weight to actually feel heavier. When did you start to really feel like you dialed in your technique and went from like, hey, I'm just going to focus on the weight on the bar to, hey, I want to make sure that every rep I do looks exactly the same?
I kind of started doing that fairly early. Like once I graduated and I was like recording my videos and my sets and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, that didn't look quite cool enough. That didn't look as aesthetic as I'd like it to look. And so I would just hammer just deadlifts over and over and over until I got it so where I looked, the form was technically pleasing to my eyes. And I don't know. I don't really think with deadlifts anymore, so I can't tell you exactly like what goes on in my head, other than pick the weight up. Just pretty early on, I just hammered my technique until it became so consistent that I didn't have to think about it.
I was just about to say it's become unconscious, which is what we really want to look for. Like you just said it, like you step up to a deadlift and it's unconscious. You've just ingrained in your brain exactly how to lift it off the ground, which is remarkable. And I think social media has recognized that as well, hence why you have the attention that I'm not sure you ever set out to have, which is now, 30,000 plus followers on Instagram where you just show your lifts off, which is pretty incredible. How did that happen? When did you start noticing a lot of people were watching your stuff? And the term sleeper build that some people use for you, like, is that something that you're like, you know what, I wear that as a badge of honor?
Oh yeah, I totally do. When I started lifting, I never really trained with the intent of getting bigger or really muscular. I just liked watching the numbers of the deadlift and squats go up, and any physical gains have just been a nice side effect of that. Now, as far as the social media stuff, I started posting on TikTok, mostly just as a training log, again, to like keep myself accountable for things. And then I had this funny interaction because I went to a new gym, which is the current gym that I go to, and the owners were sitting back and they were talking about some stuff. And I pulled 405 for 3, and I was like 160-ish at the time. And the owner, he just goes, "Dude, what the hell? This guy's a freaking beanpole." And then that video absolutely blew up, and I think it's almost at 20 million views right now.
Good for
And
you.
that kind of like solidified, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. This is fun. It's
So
fun to wow people.
what is your height and weight right now?
I'm 6'5", and I'm about 215.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just ripping weights, man. You guys are talking about how to make your deadlift look exactly the same at 100% max versus 40%, and I've never been able to achieve that.
Well, I feel like at numbers that Zach does, it becomes even more critical for it to try and look exactly the same, especially over a huge powerlifting training season. And I guess, Zach, you're competing now. I saw holding up some medals. And how's the competition side of things been for you?
So I've done 2 competitions. One of them was 2023, and the other was last year. And I'd like to compete again eventually. It's just I get so stressed out getting ready for competitions, and I don't know why. It's just my nerves. Um, Being around people like in person is so much more different than just like posting something on social media. Because now it's like there are people, they're looking at me.
There's actually more people looking at you on social media, but you don't get to see them looking at you.
Right.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I used to do CrossFit competitions, and I just remember there being like 100 people in line for the bathroom. Just like there were so many nerves. Like
I did one CrossFit competition. That was enough for me. There was handstand walking in it, and I was like,
I avoid those
all
ones.
right. I guess I failed this one. Oh no. You have Zach, do you have I know this sounds silly. You tend to deadlift a lot on social media. Is that your favorite lift? Is that the one that you feel like is the one that you go to the most? And do you have a least favorite as well?
All right, so my favorite lift, and this is going to sound weird as a power lifter, but my favorite lift ever is like a clean.
Nice.
Because I started watching Clarence Kennedy early in my lifting stuff, and seeing that dude, power clean 500 pounds was just phenomenal. But as far as actual lifts that I do go, deadlift is definitely my favorite. It's my most consistent lift. I can do it any day of the week pretty much and feel good about it. My least favorite used to be bench. I used to hate bench, partly because of the supinator tendon thing. I just felt spite towards it. But now I'd say squat of those 3 is kind of my least favorite. It's just because I don't know. Now, when you get so much weight on your back that it feels like it's gonna actually fold you in half, and you're just not sure about it. It's got a little bit more nerves to it than deadlifts. Deadlifts, if I'm failing it, I can just drop the bar. Squats, good luck, I guess.
Well, at 6'5", it takes 2 business days to get to the bottom of the squat as well.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like thinking about the physics. Andrew's 6'6". Andrew, are you 6'6", 6'5"?
So we're the
I'm
same.
I'm 6'3". Yeah, you're 6'5". This isn't a brag, anybody. We're just going over from a physics standpoint. It's harder to lift heavy things off the ground because there is a much greater distance for it to travel. Like that's the thing. Like distance traveled is, I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. So if you're 5'6" and you're deadlifting 405 and you're 6'5" deadlifting 405, there are much different distances that are traveling in these situations.
Producer Kevin just wants to let everyone know that he's 5'9" and a half. If anyone's interested.
he's our resident hobbit in comparison to the world of men over here. So and so like now that you've been lifting, so now you've been doing this for, God, you started lifting in 2018. It's 7 years now you've been on this journey. Is this a journey that you kind of just is still an obsession for you? Is this something you're going to continue to pursue, continue to do until your body says, nah, man, I don't want to do this anymore?
Absolutely. I'm totally going to continue going with it. I don't know if it's so much of an obsession anymore. I just have so many other hobbies that I've been getting into. But powerlifting is still the biggest one and the most, the longest running one, really.
Are there other forms of fitness you're getting into? Are you hinting at that?
No, not really. When I say hobbies, I'm talking about like Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering.
Nice. All right. Now we're speaking the language of the podcast. Nice.
I love Magic the Gathering. Mine are all sitting in a box downstairs. I haven't played with them in like 10 years.
He plays with himself downstairs instead. Just kidding. I love you, podcast host Andrew.
Sad.
So I just get us canceled. Producer Kevin, I just got us canceled. Zach, I think he was asking if you were getting other forms of fitness because I saw you on a machine the other day.
Yeah.
There was a machine. There was a machine on one of your videos, and I was like, Zach knows machines too? We're in trouble. Like, we're not going to be able to top out enough weight on these machines.
Yeah, I went to a new, well, I guess not a new gym. It's a different gym in my area, and they had so much equipment. It was great. I just couldn't go there because their free weight section, the barbells weren't long enough, and the plates were too big for me to fit the weight that I needed for my working sets. So, I just stopped going. But the machines were great.
I want to go to Planet Fitness with Zach.
Were they
we
bumper
just go
plates?
to a Planet Fitness with Zach?
Yeah, they were bumper plates.
Oh wow.
Zach, we're gonna go to a Planet Fitness and you're gonna max out your deadlift and just watch the look on everyone's faces. Well, you kind of hinted at it already. You nerd out about other things, and we want to talk to that side of you as well, which is a big part of the podcast. Sounds like you nerd out about some role-playing games. What else do you what do you nerd out about, Zach?
Oh, man, the role-playing games especially is a big one. Last year I had wrapped up a 5-year-long Pathfinder campaign, and that one was phenomenal. One of my players, she actually ended up getting a whole arm sleeve dedicated to her character, and that was pretty cool. I could seriously talk about that campaign for hours. That's a big nerd out thing. Other things, kind of whatever video game I happen to be playing. I like to play video games like I like to read books and I like to overanalyze everything. Currently playing God of War Ragnarok. And it's a phenomenal game. I love it so much. It has so many just really deep themes about I don't even know where to start with that one. It's got so much.
Fatherhood, betrayal, loyalty, letting your child grow up. You know, there's so much in that game. I've played and beaten that game and platinumed it out on PS5. So I am a big fan of the God of War series. Huge fan. So, yeah. And you're a PS5er? Are you a PlayStation gamer? Are you a PC gamer? Or are
Yeah.
you just whatever you
PlayStation.
feel?
You
Nice.
can't
All
see
right.
it.
Awesome.
There's a
Oh, I see
PlayStation
it.
back there. Yeah.
I just now saw it. Yeah. No, I'm a PlayStation gamer. Andrew is a PC gamer. Sometimes PlayStation gamer, I think. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Occasionally.
sometimes.
Not
I
not
used
very.
to
I
play
won a
PC.
battle royale the other day, so that was good on Fortnite on the
Hell yeah,
PlayStation that I
brother.
never play. I'm like, what?
do you have any favorite RPGs on PS5?
Oh, all right. I guess it's kind of an old game. So not exactly just PS5, but Witcher 3.
Yes.
It's right here.
Yeah, one of my top 10 favorite games ever.
Amazing.
Probably in like the number 3 spot. It's fantastic.
I'm
I really
I'm on my
enjoyed
third
Baldur's
playthrough.
Gate 3. Third playthrough, holy cow. Okay, I'll be real. I only played through it once and I finished it and I was just like, man, this was such a fantastic game that I cannot play it again. I don't know why.
I understand that sentiment. Like there's something about seeing the story the way it was. I know that the story can change based on your decisions, but just seeing it that first time, that just like gives you so much just excitement, and then having to go do it again and not necessarily be as surprised by things is
Yeah. Well, and I kind of did that with the Oblivion remaster that came out. I was really excited for it because I played Oblivion with my dad, especially, and I replayed it, and it just was not the same. And I was like,
Didn't
man, okay, it was great in my childhood, and not so much now.
I will tell you, the Witcher 3 playthrough, my recent Witcher 3 playthrough, I'm playing Geralt, I want to say very Logan style, where it's like the first time I played it, I was like, hey, I'm going to be a really good guy. And then the second time I played it, I was like, I'm going to be a good guy as well, but also like make some different decisions than I made it before. This time, if I have a dialogue option that is kill the other person, I'm choosing the dialogue option, which is kill the other person. And it is such a fun playthrough playing it like that. It's like diffuse the situation or cut off their head. It's like I'm gonna opt for that one on this playthrough. So if you can just like wear a different mask as you play through, if you ever play through Witcher 3 again. And they just announced, obviously Witcher 4 is coming out, but they're releasing new Witcher 3 DLC before Witcher 4 comes out for PS5. Yes, to bridge the gap between Witcher 4 and Witcher 3. So
That's
ready.
pretty cool. I did not know about that.
Get ready, because you're diving back in again. I'm just letting you know that now.
Okie dokie. I guess I
am. Well, we are a Lord of the Rings based podcast in that we both love Lord of the Rings a lot. And I was joking with you the other day that you were seeing some grays, so you're just turning into Gandalf the White at this point.
Hey.
So are you a Lord of the Rings fan as well?
Oh yeah, totally. Those
when
were
did that
some
start?
of my really when I was really, really young. I remember watching the movies like as part of some of my earliest memories, just with my parents and my grandparents. Everyone in my family seemed to just always have it on at some point. So
that's rad.
Yeah, it was. And recently I showed my girlfriend it, and she's really not big into like fantasy or anything. So I was like, oh man, if she ends up hating this, it's gonna make me really sad. And now she's a super fan too, and they're just phenomenal.
My wife doesn't hate it, and she enjoyed them, but she's not a super fan by any means, and it made me happy that she just at least liked it.
Yeah.
My wife actually just watched the extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring with me, and I was filling in the gaps because I was raised by an English teacher, Zach, so my mom made me read the books. So I read the books when I was younger. And so I was filling in like things in Fellowship of the Ring, like this is why this has happened, and this is what Gandalf's really like, and this is what the Maiar are, and this is how him and the Balrog are the same. And I was filling in all of that, and we had to stop because we had to put my youngest child to bed. And my wife goes, "You can't watch it without me, and I can't watch these movies without you anymore, so you can fill in all the subtext of things that I don't understand."
That's cool.
Yes. Oh yeah. And my son's seen all 3 extended editions. He sat through all of them. He's 7. So it happens in my household that we will be watching those quite frequently. Do you have a favorite of the 3?
I really like the third one. Yeah, it's so awesome.
One for Andrew.
So people came into my DMs bashing me for liking the third one over the second one in our previous podcast.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, the second one's the best, so I'm happy, Zach.
I love Two Towers so much. I'm one of those people. Those were all my burner accounts that I was bashing you from. I just wanted to let you know.
No, these are people that no.
Do you have Zach, do you have a favorite character from somebody that you like recognize or reflect in yourself when you're watching the film? Somebody you attach to a little bit more?
So when I was younger, I was a big fan of Legolas because I thought he was flashy and cool. I liked his fighting style a lot. But on my most recent rewatch with my girlfriend, I found I was relating to Sam quite a bit. With the whole how he's really reluctant.
Sleeper
he's like,
build.
Got a field tested frying pan.
Right.
But just how he has to take up this responsibility that he kind of doesn't want to take up, and he's like tagging along with Frodo and just kind of being there like, dude, you got to get your head on straight and you got to work through this or both of us are going to die. And I just relate to that because specifically because my dad had passed away, and during that time I was kind of like the rock for my family and stuff. And so even though I was like, dude, I'd rather just be in my bed and be depressed and stuff, I kind of had to stick my head up and be like, hey guys, we're all going to be okay. It's going to be great. Well, maybe not great, but it'll be better.
I love that speech by Sam in Two Towers, the one he gives. I can't remember all the content of the speech, but the one he gives where he's talking about the sun will shine on us again, and that whole speech is right towards the end of it. I mean, you can't help but get goosebumps when Sam's giving that speech. He also sleeper build. He carried Frodo on his back up a hill.
Seriously.
It's pretty legit, and thumbs up to Sam
miles?
for that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, 1,787 miles was their total journey. So, I mean, sleeper build. But I love that speech by Sam, and we were actually talking, Zach, recently about underrated characters in the series, and Sam's top of my list. I mean, he might be the hero of the story. I mean, I know Frodo was a ring bearer, Sam was too, but Frodo doesn't finish the whole thing without Sam. He just doesn't.
Sam was the bearer of the ring bearer.
Yes. 100%. And I think we're just celebrating our 25th anniversary of those films, Zach, which it's just crazy to think about, the 25 years since those movies came out. All the Academy Awards. Yeah. Way more Academy Awards than the Harry Potter movies, and way, way less movies.
Did you hear that, Kevin?
Yeah, exactly. I hope producer Kevin heard that. But Zach, we ask other people this.
Shut your muggle mouth.
Shut your muggle mouth. Why do you think, as somebody who loves those films, and we love those films, we love the content, why do you think it stood the test of time the way that it has?
I think it's largely because they were filmed with so much sincerity. Not just that they were, pretty accurate to the books that they were based off of, but that even the parts that may be considered, I don't know, like not like the visual effects and stuff, maybe in current days they don't look quite as awesome, but because they were so sincere in their showing of those things, that it solidifies the movies as a series of serious films that have a message to say.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I hope we never remake them. I also hope we don't turn them into an episodic television show like other mediums that are out there. But I do think that, like, I know. I do think, and honestly, like, I do think there are certain things that just need to be, like, not touched. And I really do feel like, the Godfather 1 and 2, please never remake those. Never remake the Lord of the Rings movies.
Jesse, yes. You know that when you're turning 74, they will be releasing the next TV show of the Lord of the Rings.
Probably. Yes. Probably.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I am the old man. I am the Gandalf of this group. So yeah.
But actually, it's going to be a spin-off series loaded with nostalgia bait and references to the movies and that's all it's gonna have. That's it.
If it has Tom Bombadil, that'll be worth it.
Oh, can we get some Tom Bombadil in his songs? That would be amazing. Can we do that, please? So you do D&D, which is pretty awesome. One of my old coaches, she's a what's it called, where you're proctoring it, or you're a dungeon master. She's a dungeon master.
Yeah.
So do you have certain characters that you lean toward, certain classes of characters that you lean toward in D&D, or you just try and mix it up on every campaign?
So I have a pretty big variety of characters. I tend to play mages, but one of my favorites that I played, his name was Dorvis Dorpit, and he was a gnome who was like almost 700 years old, and he was on the run from his variety of ex-wives because he specialized in polymorph magic. And so he would use some alter self stuff and turn into a whole totally different race, live with someone, get married, have kids, live a life with that person. And then once he got bored, he'd just turn back into Dorvis Dorpip and leave. And so he had like 30 plus divorced wives, and most of them were still out to get him because they were elves and stuff, and they lived just as long as him. And that one was really fun.
Is that the one you relate to the most?
Yeah. Zach's girlfriend, take notes.
Don't take notes. Don't take notes.
Did you create that, or was that something that you took from elsewhere?
Oh no, that was all me. I was just sitting in my room. I was like,
it's creative. It's fun.
Oh, I love the creativity. I think the most creative thing we get to do in video games is like give our person a name or maybe give them an appearance. But how awesome would it be if we could actually give them like full on backstories? That would be just really cool. That would just be the best. That would be that true experience that we're talking about. From a role playing perspective, because I would give him like I don't think I could come up with Dorvis Dorpit, but like I could do a pretty good job myself. Andrew, do you D&D? Do I not know?
I've never D&D'd. So Zach, where do you live? What state?
I'm in Utah.
Okay, that's too far away. Oh well. No, I've never done it. I've always been curious and just haven't taken the time. I always felt weird. So I played Magic the Gathering in college, and I would go into the stores and people would just stare at me like I don't belong there. Like I'm a fit dude. Like I had like trendy clothing and and then I'm not supposed to curse, but whatever. And yeah, they just wouldn't really talk to me, and then I felt like scared to go in there, so I just stopped.
Dang it. No, when it comes to D&D, like I play my play group it consists of a cop, a tattoo artist, and another cop. Yeah. So the people that I play with, like you would not see them and think that they are into Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. It's one of those hobbies that it's best to do with just someone you know. Even if neither of you know how to actually play the game whatsoever, just pick up some like basic beginner rules and see where you can go from there, because so much of the game is a theater of imagination, and many of the rules are just kind of there to nudge you in the right direction.
I feel you'd have to be super comfortable just being nerdy around the people that you're with, and being able to open up that conversation. I could see me trying to do that with my wife in the room, and I'm just like, I'd be like shy and not able to.
It's so funny to me because D&D is just a purely just role-playing game. Like you get to come up with your own story, and it's mythical and it's fantasy. And, for a while there, it was like taboo. They covered it in the Stranger Things season where they were like a group that played D&D, and everybody was like Satan worshippers. And it's like they're just playing out roles. Like it's the same as acting, but you actually have control over how the story goes, which I think's really silly. I thought interesting, Zach, I don't know if you watched the Daredevil show, but one of the characters from the show, the actress, Deborah Ann Wolfe, she's a big D&D participant. She does it a lot. And she was explaining to John Bernthal, who plays the Punisher, how to play D&D. If you ever get a chance to watch this clip, it's actually really good because she actually starts taking him through like setting up a campaign and what that's all like. So shout out to the people in Marvel shows also doing D&D. It's just a testament to the fact that it's become a little bit more mainstream than I think it was before.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely a lot more popular, which is nice. You know, I can comfortably say in public, I play Dungeons and Dragons, and a few people, their heads might perk up and be like, hell yeah, brother. You know, it's great.
Yeah. I also deadlift 605 for 4.
Yeah, 62.
I just broke Andrew's brain.
Have you guys done Warhammer at all?
Oh man, I have not. I know a lot about the lore, but I've never played the game.
Any of the computer games? Or
no.
Any games? Do they even have
I want to get
console?
the Space Marine one that came
Space
out.
Marine
I want to
so
try that
awesome.
one.
I enjoyed it a lot. That was my first introduction to Warhammer.
Yeah, I have not played the Space Marine game yet. It's a PS5. Speaking of games, Zach, we have a little fun question that we ask everybody at the end of every episode. You saw it on your questionnaire. So the question goes a little something like this. You are put in the same universe as the last game you played. What universe would you be in? And could you survive it? How would you survive it? And yeah, so what was the last game you played?
God of War Ragnarok. I think it depends. It depends on what realm I end up in. If I end up in Midgard, maybe.
Right.
If I end up in Vanaheim, a plant full of acid is going to melt me and I'm going to die a horrible death. If I end up in Alfheim, the elves are going to beat me to death. Svartalfheim, I think that's how it's pronounced, the dwarven one, I think I could live comfortably there. I think I would be fine over there. I'd look a little out of place and I couldn't fit in any of the houses, but I think I'd be all right.
Just drink some beers and hang out.
Yeah.
Do some lore.
Would you try and befriend Kratos? You just be or Loki? Just try and become their friends, or would you be like, you guys do your thing, I'm gonna be over here. Like you guys go do your thing, I'm gonna stay over here.
I think it would be like an occasional like, oh hey, what's up guys? Because I wouldn't want to like adventure with them. No way.
No
you know.
Do you think that Kratos? Do you think Kratos has a sleeper build compared to his capacities and his powers? Like, yeah, he's all jacked and stuff, but what he can do is beyond what he looks like. He's got like a Hulk power.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. I'd say that's like some sleeper build stuff because I mean, he's duking it out with Thor, and Thor is like 3 times Kratos' size. So yes. I think that would make Kratos a sleeper build.
I mean, he's literally lifted the Parthenon at one point in the games. So, like, yes, I think he has the he took down a Titan for perspective. So, yeah, I think sleeper build would be a really good description for Kratos. I think it's funny that you'd be like, listen, I'm not adventuring with you, but it's really nice to meet you.
I'd be like, hey, Kratos, check this out. I just pulled 650, and he's like, okay. That's cool.
He comes over with like one finger and lifts it up. He's like, this is an interesting toy you have. Puts it back down again.
It's lighter than my axe.
Oh God. Oh my Lord. Same question. Sci-fi movies. Do you have a last sci-fi movie that you watched?
No, I think the last Star Wars. Yeah, it was Star Wars. That was the last sci-fi one that I watched. The Revenge of the Sith. I think I could survive. I think I could survive in that one pretty well. As long as I stay away from like anything to do with the Jedi or the clones, and I just sit on Tatooine, play with some sand, I'd be fine.
You show up and you're like right next to the Jedi Temple, and you're like, I don't want to be here because I know what's going to happen. So go find me. Can someone please find me some transport? I need to go away. Also, kids, y'all should leave too. I'm just letting you know this now. Y'all should leave.
All right, think of how fun it would be though to learn the Force and then go to competitions with it.
Boy. Right.
Yeah. Then I could deadlift 1,000 pounds.
You're like holding someone else's weight down. You're like, no.
You still lift your weight. You just make sure that they can't lift their weights with the bars.
That would be so terrible. That's some
Go to
dark
deadlifts.
side
It's like,
stuff right there.
bro, boy, now we're talking. Now we are talking about the dark side. No, that's hilarious. I think that's a Star Wars. They just released, not to tangent, and nor is this a rant, but they just released Revenge of the Sith recently. Re-released it in theaters, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, they just re-released it in theaters recently. I didn't go, so my friends went. I thought it was really cool. I think Samuel Jackson and Hayden Christensen actually showed up to a screening of it together, which...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, they hate each other, so why are they hanging out in real life? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, keep the lore going. Is that your favorite Star Wars movie? Is that why you just watched it recently, or you're like, hey, I want to watch a bunch of small children murdered by Sith?
Yeah, buddy.
I'd watched that movie. I think that was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. And I ended up falling asleep during it, but that doesn't matter because it ended up being my favorite anyways. I was like 6 years old.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, that explains that.
Yeah. My first movie that I ever saw in theaters was Return of the Jedi. I was 1985. I think I was 2 and like change. Slept through most of it, but that was the first movie that my parents ever took me through in theaters. Perspective, his was Revenge of the Sith. Mine is Return of the Jedi, which means I am super old, everybody.
I saw Starship Troopers in the theater when I was like 8. And I threw up in the dissection scene of the bug.
Oh my God.
On that note, everybody, Zach, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It was really awesome hearing your story and why. I still don't understand how you lift so much weight, but it's great to hear your story. And where can we find you? Where do you clearly have a large TikTok following as well? What is your handle there?
Same thing. ZakMovesMass with a 1. I started a new TikTok channel, so I've been posting on that instead. But then I have another one that's just Zach is back on track 1.
Cool. And Instagram is ZakMovesMass.
That's
and websites?
Correct. No websites.
All right.
No.
And eventually YouTube.
ZakAttack.com is not up for you to take because that sounds perfect. You just attack weights. This is what you do. You attack PRs. Zak Attack.
Honestly, that one probably is already taken. I can imagine another Zach out there who's like, dude, I like attacking things. I'm making a website of it.
You could make a Dorvis Door Pit like Instagram page. It's all AI. It's just him just being an absolute goon.
I might have to consider that. Actually,
I think it needs.
I'll do just all hand drawn stuff, and I'm not an artist.
Perfect.
AI, please bring this to life. Zach, thank you for being on the Fellowship of the Gains podcast. Everybody listening, please make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for more awesome guests like we had Zach today. And Zach, again, we appreciate you coming on.
All right, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
All right, later.